Hi, welcome to another episode of Poetry Podcast with Tigox. My name is Dawn MacGregor-Bromfield, and today I'm going to be discussing a poem that I call God's Probably Steering. Notice the initials GPS, right? Because he's my GPS. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of the backstory. So I have to kind of share a few stories for you to get the real feel as to who I am. Now, I'm I'm very talented, and the people say I use the two sides of my brain. So I'm using the left side and the right side of my brain. But I don't know which side a good sense of direction is supposed to be in. That must be somewhere behind the left and the right side of the brain because I am clueless. I am not spatial. I cannot think ahead as to where I'm going. So most times when I'm driving, I'm just going, and thus, as I said, God's probably steering. So I'm going to give you a few examples of how bad it is. One time, there's in Jamaica, there's a area where when you turn to the right of a roundabout, then you're going towards a place called Portmore, and I would know that I have to go quite a distance from my home down a very straight road. Well, again, the word straight is ambiguous to me. When some people say go straight down, I really don't know. Sometimes when they say go straight down, follow my nose, I'm not getting it because I end up somewhere else. And when I call them, they say, they told you to go straight. And I said, I thought I was straight. Anyway, so it this was somewhere now I said, oh yes, I can get this. I don't go to Portmore. I don't go to Spanish Town. It's another area that's away from me unless I get company. I used to sometimes bother my father and say, I have to go to these places to go and pick up something or go and get something. Can you come with me or can you take me? So I used to be spoiled that way. He would do that, right? So this time now, I wasn't going all the way to Portmore. So it's on the way when you turn right of the roundabout that you would actually see a place that has a lot of manufacturing companies. And I was picking up somebody from their work in the night on that road, and I actually had my child, who was a baby at the time, on the back seat, and I'm like, oh, I can do this. So I go straight down, and I like, what's going on here now? Something is a little bit different, but I said, no, by now I'm supposed to turn right. So I turn right, and I'm like trying to find the place, and all of a sudden I see, welcome to Portmore, and I'm like, what? Because now I felt like I went into Never Never Land. But that is not somewhere that I can navigate, not somewhere that I know, and that's surely not somewhere I want to be in the middle of the night. Anyway, so I want to turn back. It's a toll booth right there, and I'm saying to them, I'm in the wrong place. Can I just turn back right here? And they said, no, you have to go through the toll. And they pointed to somewhere, giving me the impression that I could go through the toll, go to this place that they pointed, and turn back. So I'm driving, trying to find somewhere that I can turn back, and I'm not finding anywhere. Next thing I realize, I'm in the town, a lot of hustle and bustle and lights and people and places, and I'm like, oh no. So I called a friend of mine, and I said, I'm in Portmore. And then she's like, what are you doing down there? I said, I'm lost. So she said, all right, tell me what you're seeing. And I said, there was this big sign where I said Captain's Bakery. So she said, okay, is it on your left or your right? So I said, it's on my left, it's on my left. Oh, no, no, it's on my right. No, actually, it's on my right. Oh, no, it's on my left. No. She said, don't come off the roundabout. so, so I was just going in circles, not actually coming off the roundabout because I didn't know how to come off the roundabout and where I should come off. So, all right, so I come off the roundabout now. She said, all right, look for a sign that you can tell me what sign you're seeing so I could maybe help navigate you back to get back into Kingston. So I'm looking for signs. I'm not seeing any signs. Now the road getting darker and darker. And then she's saying, don't panic. I said, I'm panicking, I'm panicking. I just, just like Donkey on the Shrek movie, where they said, Donkey, don't look down. And then he said, I'm looking down. That's how I felt. I'm like, I'm panicking, I'm panicking. And then oh no. So she said, are you seeing any signs? I said, no, I'm not seeing any signs. Then all of a sudden, dead end. Oh, that was a nervous wreck. And as I said, I have the baby in the back of the car. Baby was sleeping by this time. So she said, all right, try and go back the route that you came. I'm not so good at that either, reversing directions. But I went back towards the light. And then she said, just ask somebody. So that's what I ended up doing to get out of that. So that is one scenario. I mean, there have been many in my life, but that one was really something else. There was another one that I have to share where I was actually lost on a balcony. And so that sounds crazy, right? But oh no, with me, that's not so crazy. So I actually was not an invigilator, but I was helping to manage a certain type of exam that came out of England and was being done at high schools. I quickly understood how to manage it. And so I was being called by other schools to help them when they had the exam. So, if something went wrong, I understood how to fix it, how to troubleshoot, and that kind of thing. There were online exams. It was long before we're doing online exams now, like nobody's business, but it was a long time before this. And I was going to Wolmer's girls' school for the first time. I'd been to the boys' school, I think it was, when I was doing exams for music, but I had not been to the girls' school. So I go there, and the person who I'm supposed to meet, they told me to go to a particular car park. So I went to the car park, and then I called the person, and they came to the car park for me and took me up to the room. So I helped them prepare for the exam that was going to be the following day. So we're there in what they call the old computer lab. And we set up, and I gave them some tips as to what they should look out for, what they should make sure is prepared, and so forth. The next day, I go there. Remember, I went there the day before. So I go, I found the car park. Could I remember if I turned left or right? I couldn't remember. So I asked a student, do you know where the computer lab is? So they said yes. And I said, can you show me? And they took me. And when I'm walking there, I'm saying, this looking fresh, this looking new, this not looking like the place that I saw before. So when the child left me there, and I'm like, they said, this is the computer lab. And I'm like, huh? So I called the person, and the person said, describe where you are. And I did. And they said, you have gone to the new computer lab instead of the old computer lab. And the old computer lab, and there's balconies on it. So it's upstairs kind of thing. Like, oh my goodness. So he said, make my way. He was still in shock that I could not find it back, and it's just yesterday I saw the place. Anyway, he said, make your way back to your car. I did. He met me there and took me back up to the lab. Now, that is not the biggest part. I am now at the exam center. We're there, set up, ready for the exam. The exam starts and my phone vibrates. Now, I cannot take the call inside. I step out of the room, and I'm now on a balcony which has several doors, of which one is the lab door to where the exam is in progress. And I'm talking on the phone and inadvertently pacing the balcony while on the phone. Now, I was speaking to one of my closest friends, and all of a sudden I said, uh oh. She said, what happened to you? So I said, I just looked behind me and realized I don't know which door I came out of. She said, you're kidding me. I said, I'm not kidding. And I can't go knocking on doors while they're doing their exam. And so I was lost on the balcony. So, so that's the story behind that part of my experience. So I'm going to read the poem now that I brought these and other experiences together. And I thought, GPS, my GPS is God's probably steering. And I'm now going to read the poem for you, and you'll get an understanding as to how bad it is. Follow your nose is a famous direction, I'm told. But it seems my nose is crooked, as I always veer off the main road. My friends try to help me solve my difficulty to get from A to B. They said the landmarks I hold onto should be something set permanently. They say, Dawn, you cannot mark the pink wall. What if they repaint it red? You will not find the landmark and reach a new destination instead. The word that drives me crazy is the silly road sign detour. I instantly go into panic mode as I know I'll be lost for sure. Believe me, the situation is bad. I remember one particular day heading to Marcus Garvey Drive to do a pickup. I was sure I knew my way. My landmark was a solid one. I turned right at the big roundabout. I drove and drove confidently, amazed that my fuel didn't run out. Before I could see my landmark, I saw a toll booth approach, taking me to the foreign Portmore. They moved the roundabout to cockroach. The United States malls are no better. I go in the east, come out of the west. The exits all look the same to me. Everyone there must have a built-in GPS. I've even gotten lost on a balcony. Came out of the door for a call. When ready to return to the room, I didn't know which it was at all. Thank God for steering me each day. Adventurously, the shortcuts avoid me danger. It's a wonder I even reached here. My problem couldn't be stranger.